Your own family will talk shit about you even when you're in the process of breaking all their generational curses. This ain't for the weak. And Mr. Denzel Washington put it best. This was an absolutely fabulous quote. Speaking from experience, speaking from what I've seen other people go through when they try to break the cycle, when they try to break the cycle of broken homes, broken relationships, finances, being a mess and a wreck, when they try to break the cycle of people being uneducated, when they try to break the cycle of mental illness, it's most definitely a challenge. And I have definitely embarked on changing quite a few of those that I just listed in my family on both sides, unfortunately. And in doing so, I have had family members talk about me, and they have been some of the ones that I have done the most for. I have had family members betray me. I've had family members just not return the favor in the things that I have done for them. I have had family members stop talking to me. I have had them just want to argue and bicker with me for no reason. And I had to realize that it wasn't me, it was the spirit that I was fighting against, because you have to realize that generational curses aren't against flesh and blood. Like the word says in Ephesians, you're actually fighting against spirits. You're fighting against spirits that jump from generation to generation, person to person. When you try to change things, especially generational curses, you won't just be attacked by your family. You're going to be attacked from every direction. If you're trying to pursue a healthy romantic relationship and marriage, you're going to be attacked there. If you are trying to pursue a healthy financial life in future, you're going to be attacked there. If you are trying to pursue growing up and raising healthy and stable children, you're going to be attacked there. However it may come, you may be attacked by not being able to have children. In your finances, you may be attacked by never being able to get a leg up and to catch yourself. If you're trying to have a substantial or good marriage, you may find yourself attacked by outside sources just trying to come in between you and your mate for whatever reason. There's all types of different attacks that you're going to face when you make the choice to make a change. And it's definitely not something for someone to try or attempt to do if you are not spiritually grounded, emotionally grounded, and healed yourself. First, you have to realize that there is a problem. That's the first step. And once you realize that there is a problem, do you have the guts and do you have what it takes to go against the grain in your own family, to go against the people that you love, to go against quote unquote tradition and what has traditionally been done? Do you have the wherewithal to go at it alone? Because chances are, if you go against the grain, if you go against tradition, if you go against the norm, you will be alone. You will be an outcast, or you will even be considered a black sheep. I'm going to read to you the definition of a generational curse. The idea that negative traits, dysfunctional patterns, or misfortunes can be passed down from one generation to the next. Some examples of generational curses include a family history of alcoholism, a history of abuse, a history of mental illness or suicide, and a tendency towards bad luck. Some believe that generational curses are rooted in sin, rebellion against God, or an ancient family trauma. However, the reality is more complex and scientific. Research shows that epigenetics and environmental and social factors play a role. Some say that the Bible teaches that God punishes the children of those who hate him, but that he shows his loving kindness to those who love him and keep his commandments. Others say that Christ broke the curse and that believers are free from it. With that respect, the sins of the father wouldn't necessarily affect the child if that is being or could be broken, or if that person breaks it and they decide to go that route. The same thing with the mental illness, but that one can be a little more difficult because that's a chemical thing, a health or physical. Mental illnesses can be a little tricky to deal with because there's a whole lot more that needs to be delved into, because you have alcoholism that could cause the mental illness. If you are from the train of thought that sins of the father, then that could be true, because if your father is an alcoholic and his child has to deal with all of the outcome and downfall of him being an alcoholic, then the chances are the child may be an alcoholic, and it will go down so and so like that. But if someone breaks that, even though that person had a great tendency to become an alcoholic like their father, they still have the ability and the choice to actually break that curse. So some people just believe that generational curses is just a tendency towards bad luck. But bad luck is in the eye of the beholder, because it could be something that's an easy fix just by changing one's way of thinking. The next thing I'm going to read to you is epigenetics. Epigenetics is the study of how changes in gene expression occur without alterations in the DNA sequence. It focuses on how environmental factors such as diet, exercise, exposure to toxins, and life experiences can influence how genes are read and interpreted. So I found that very interesting. So I read that because I wanted to just bring to light the fact that sometimes we think that the devil is the one doing things to us, or sometimes we think that we're suffering from generational curses, when all it takes is just that one person to stop doing a particular thing that has held their family back, such as changing the diet. If you have a family that has always consumed a very high fat, unhealthy diet for generations, and they suffer with diabetes, that's a very easy fix for the most part, unless it's type 1 diabetes, because your diet and changing exercise patterns and drinking more water are all things that could probably reverse that. And then you have exposure to toxins. A change in your environment may actually change that. You have money that comes into play. You will have to find a way to earn more income so that you can change your environment. But a lot of people really don't think about the fact that toxins affect our mental stability, and then we start having mental illnesses when all we have to do is change what's going into our bodies and change where we are actually located. And then you have different life experiences. So this is something else that's extremely interesting to me. The fact that you may not have necessarily felt the effects per se of your parents or your grandparents, but their trauma is imprinted in the genes that are passed down. That's why a lot of people can't figure out why they're so angry, or why they think that the way that they think, or why they keep having reoccurring dreams. It may not be anything you've ever experienced. It may be the experiences of your great-great-great-grandfather. So that's something to be dug into as well, excuse me. And for us to really think about that everything is not necessarily about us. It may be some things from the past that we are the ones that have to deal with it and be the ones to make the change, so that the future generations don't have to deal with it, and we don't continue to pass that negativity down and those generational curses down. I want to know what you all think about generational curses. Have you all been the ones who have tried to break them? Did you have parents who have tried to break them? Do you see and realize and recognize what some of the curses are actually in your family, and what are you doing about them? Let me know what you think, and thank you all for watching and listening.